Hello, and welcome back to Owens Bay. Now, I know I keep promising a video of a finished town, and it always seems to be going to be the next episode, and guess what? It's going to be the next episode. When I got to the point of editing, it just turned out I had way too much game footage here, and I wasn't going to cram it all into one episode. It just wasn't going to work. So it's going to be split into a two-parter, and for today's episode we're going to focus our attention on building a suburban neighborhood adjacent to the town proper. Anyway, my name is Geifs, and let's get started. Yeah, so everything's done. The town is finished. But when I got to the point of editing the video, it turned out I had over 7 hours of game footage. And there was just no way I'm going to be cramming that into something under an hour in length. So I have to split it up. Is a good thing. That's not a bad thing, because trying to cram it all into an hour, I would have had to edit out so much footage, and this is just gives us everything enough time so I can focus on what I'm building right here without trying to cram everything into a really short period of time. For this episode, we're going to be building out suburbia. This might seem a bit odd, because why a suburban neighborhood here? We have to think about the development of the town, right? In the recent past, a rapid transit system was built out to this location, so obviously that's going to spur more development in the area. Also, just for practical reasons, on this particular map, there aren't a lot of locations suitable for building urban sprawl. It's just either this location or another location out in another valley. Space is tight here. This turned out to be a pretty good location for it. I think at the end of it, finished, it actually looks really, really nice here. But yeah, trying to cram all the video of the suburban neighborhood together with building the town center proper, it was way too much. I wouldn't be able to fit all that stuff together. So, 2 videos. Here, I'm trying to represent, if we think about this suburban neighborhood, this suburban neighborhood probably was originally developed, I'm going to say probably in the 1950s, maybe into the 1960s. So it's a older suburban development. It's not something new to the area. Because of the rapid transit network, there are hints of more density being built up in certain locations in the area. And these buildings here, that's sort of a representation of that. And it's also just to give the area a bit of visual height. So when you're viewing it like right now from the roads and the highways and stuff, there's something visually interesting to look at, rather than just a flat suburban landscape. The area I'm building in right now is fairly hilly, so it's not going to be overly dense. Everything's going to be spread out a bit more. Obviously here the terraforming will be too extreme, so there's not going to be houses there. In reality, there probably would be houses up on the hill like that, but they would conform to terrain. They wouldn't deform it like that. So with the tools we have available right now, I can't really build such buildings. Okay, right here I thought would be fun to put in kind of a parkland along the river's edge. This is on the side of the river opposite of downtown, and you'll probably get the odd glimpse of it here. I don't think there's anything at this point of the recording. There isn't really anything built in downtown, so you're not going to see anything there. And so I built this trail along the far side. What I'm doing right now is I'm going to be using the forestry surface as the surface for the trail. I think it makes a very nice looking natural surface for like hiking trails rather than the concrete paths or even a gravel path. It blends into the landscape a lot nicer. Now I'm not going to show all the zoning here that I'm doing. It's pretty monotonous and tedious. I don't really see any reason to show me zoning every single plot of land here. But I hope I include enough here so there's enough to be able to follow along. So this little town, being a tourist destination now, it's all really about natural beauty. So the town council would have put in considerable resources to build out a park network. And we have some bizarre terrain issues here. I don't know what happens. Sometimes the paths don't connect correctly and you get all this weird distortions. I thought I'd give a try at recoloring the boulders again. This time I was going for kind of a mossy green because they're always sitting in the water and it's a very wet climate, so everything is kind of covered in moss. These turned out all right. They definitely add a bit of variety to the boulders, and I think it might have been the first attempt. I might have been recoloring them wrong, but this time it looks really, really good. And here we go, our first pedestrian on our trails with all his dogs. I have a theory about, I've noticed quite often in the game, there's people with like 4 or 5, I think I've seen even 6 dogs. I have a theory on why some people have so many dogs. I think it's the wealthy people. Once they have a certain amount of wealth, they just seem to have more and more dogs. I don't know if that's true or not, but it's my theory. And I'm just going to use some surfaces here with the radio tower just to blend it into the road a little better. I'm surprised by how many people I have using this trail at the beginning. Unfortunately, this doesn't last. As soon as I start zoning in the commercial for the downtown core, people just stop using this trail, which is very unfortunate. It was quite fun to see so many people actually using it. Now the area directly adjacent to the creek is all protected parkland on both sides, at least for this segment of the river. Farther downriver, we have that strip mall that's right on it, so not so much. But yeah, adjacent to the downtown core, yeah, this is all protected parkland in here. Okay, now I'm just kind of figuring out the actual road layout for the actual neighborhood. What I end up with here is it's kind of a grid, but not really a grid. I didn't want to make just a very strict grid, so right here I'm putting in a little road layout for a newer subdivision. And for the most part, the roads are going to follow the contour lines of the actual hill here. And you can sort of see the, not quite a grid being drawn in here. I don't know why. I have a real aversion to drawing in very strict gridded city layouts, even though that's the reality of many towns and cities. I find visually a very strict grid, a lot of times this comes off as looking very boring, or it more likely the case, I have a hard time making that sort of city layout look good. I find nothing about it very inspiring. So I usually hand draw the grids in, so they tend to be imperfect, and then try to include at least some level of just random connections. Give the neighborhood some visual interest. Now out here, the land values would be considerably cheaper than in the towns proper, so lot sizes for the homes are going to be larger. Okay, so this neighborhood seemed of a sufficient size that it warranted its own elementary school. For the high school, the students are going to have to bus it into the town proper for high school. But for elementary, there's going to be a school here. And I thought it'd be nice to give it a little gymnasium. For our purposes, we can maybe think of the gymnasium maybe as a community center. The highlight for this particular neighborhood is this park I'm working on here. And its key highlight is going to be this baseball diamond. Sully uploaded a pack of these wonderful baseball diamonds, decals, to the mod store not too long ago, and I thought it'd be nice to use one. This is just essentially a city park baseball diamond, so it's, it's just where some kids come to have, a bit of ball. Nothing, no stadium, no bleachers, nothing like that. I thought these fence assets would be perfect here, being as high as they are. Being a park, I am going to add some actual parks to give the area some functionality. But the key attraction here is going to be this little pond. And for our modern housing development, I'm going to go with these very modern looking small homes. I'm just going to pack them in really densely. In our timeline, I'm going to say this housing development probably built in the early 2000s. And over by the highway, we're going to have strip malls. It's suburbia, so everything's kind of spread out, lots of parking lots. was so happy to find out that I can actually delete the homeless from the parks. Morally, that might sound a bit awful, but for the game, it's nice to know. I had this weird kind of glitch in the landscape here with this little bridge segment, but I really liked it, so I decided to keep it, but I'm just going to use a few bushes to hide some of the imperfections, but I think it's kind of a odd little quirky feature. And I basically deleted everything from the park I didn't want, and I'm just going to put in my own custom things that I think look good. I do appreciate the assets in the game, being able to delete away the stuff you don't want and keep what you do, and add back in your own items. It's a nice feature, especially for people who are not so focused on detailing. Be fun to have like a concession stand next to the baseball diamond and a bit of seating. And there's this odd little glitch with props that if you add too many props to a location, they tend to start disappearing. Somebody mentioned in the last episode where I was wanting to create this rusty bit of old machinery by the side of the highway, why I didn't use my own rust decals on it to make it look even more rusty. That's kind of the reason why. I find sticking decals on props a lot of times causes the props to disappear. And now I'm just going to spend a bit of time integrating the elementary school into the landscape, so it looks like everything is part, like it looks like everything belongs together. I'm using the hedge here to kind of contain the housing development. And I'm just going to plop in a few houses to fill in some of the more obvious gaps. I'm not going to spend a lot of time here detailing the actual neighborhoods. It's a flyover area, more or less, so it doesn't really require a huge amount of detailing. The park here is our main focus. And because this is a fairly, not an old neighborhood, but a very well-established neighborhood, the trees are going to be fairly mature. Now, one thing I thought was lacking from my build so far was a ditch along the side of the highway. So I decided that this would be a great place to put one. It makes some sense, you know, Pacific Northwest, it's a very wet climate. There's a lot of water and it has to accumulate somewhere. So there's, you know, quite a few ditches all over the place. What I'm going to use for the water here is one of the water surfaces. I'm going to go with one of the muddy water surfaces. These are imperfect, to be honest. It'd be nice if there was maybe a better way of doing this. It looks pretty good though when it's done, but not being able to see the terrain lines while you're actually painting down a surface or drawing in a surface is a real annoyance. It makes this much more difficult than it need be. As you can see, I'm like having to adjust the lines to make it better. This is a feature that actually looks better at a distance. Close up, it kind of breaks the illusion of it. But you know, from an aerial view over top of it, it looks pretty good. really have a lot to say about this particular build. It wasn't exactly meant to be a standalone episode all of its own. It wasn't an area I was planning to put a huge amount of detail in. It's literally out by the edge of the map, so it's kind of just there to look, be visible on the edge of town, not necessarily a place we're going to spend a lot of time in once it's finished. The area is right adjacent to the actual highway. They are a little more important, so they get a little bit more detail, but out here it's pretty light on the detailing out here. And these parking lots are not going to see a huge amount of use out here, so I'm just going to add a few prop cars to make it look like there's actually something going on out here. Okay, we're coming up onto the end of the episode. Like I said, this was never meant to be its own, like a standalone episode of its own, so I don't want to say that it's filler, but it is kind of filler. Anyway, it's important to the backdrop of the city. It ties in with the whole region. And when I finish the area and we start doing proper flyovers, it will all make more visual sense at that point, I think. Anyway, if you have stuck around to the end of the video, thank you so much for watching. I really do appreciate it. And if you found anything of use in this video, please feel free to like and subscribe. It really will help out. Like I've said before, the more subscribers, the easier it is to get to make more videos. Anyway, that's it for now, and I will see you all next time.